All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to tackle a really interesting argument, the case for Bitcoin Cash. And this isn't just about another digital asset. The claim here is that BCH is actually delivering on crypto's original promise, to be a real peer-to-peer electronic cash system for everyone on the planet.
So let's kick things off with this quote, because it really sets the stage for everything we're about to discuss. Think about it. What's the difference between a rare painting and a dollar bill? The painting is scarce, sure, but you can't exactly buy coffee with it. The dollar bill is also scarce in its own way, but it's mobile. It moves, and that's the key idea here. For something to be real, global money, it can't just be a digital collector's item. It has to be usable, spendable, cash.
So, to really get what this digital cash dream is all about, we're not going to start with the tech jargon or crazy charts. Nope, we're going to start with something way more relatable, a bus ride in Mozambique.
So get this. In Maputo, the capital of Mozambique, you can hop on one of these public transport vans. They're called chapas, and pay for your ride with Bitcoin Cash. And the coolest part? This isn't some big corporation running a test. It's a totally grassroots thing, started by the community, called Chapa BC8.
But honestly, calling it just a payment system doesn't even do it justice. The sources we're looking at call it a mobile seminar. I love that. It's literally a classroom on wheels. While people are paying for their rides, they're also learning how to use crypto wallets. They're finding a way to send money back home without getting slammed by huge fees. And it's spreading. They're getting other local shops to start accepting Bitcoin Cash, building a whole digital economy from the ground up. All right, so that's Mozambique. And you might be thinking, okay, cool story, but that's just one place, right? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. What's happening there isn't a one-off. It's actually part of a much larger global pattern of adoption. I mean, look at this. You got this incredible concentration of stores in places like Slovenia and Croatia, where you can just walk in and pay with BCH. Then you jump over to North Queensland, Australia, and there's a huge merchant scene there too. We're talking hundreds of businesses in the US, tons of spots in Japan. And in Latin America, people in countries like Argentina are using it to protect themselves from insane inflation. So this is way beyond just speculating on a price. This is about people actually using it in their daily lives. And if we zoom back in on Africa, this table just lays it out perfectly. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. Different countries, different problems, different solutions. So in Nigeria, where currency devaluation is a huge issue, it's all about peer-to-peer trading. In Kenya, which already has a big mobile money culture, it's being used for tiny retail payments. And in Ghana, it's a lifesaver for sending small amounts of money across borders without losing a chunk to fees. Basically, wherever you have a need for fast, cheap transactions, Bitcoin Cash is finding a home. Okay, so you've got to be wondering, how is this all possible? How can a network handle all this traffic without grinding to a halt and becoming super expensive like we've seen with other cryptos? Well, the answer is in the engine, in the fundamental design choices made right at the core of the protocol. So the secret sauce here is something called the UTXO model. Now, don't worry about the acronym. The concept is actually really simple. Instead of your crypto balance being like a single number in a bank account, think of it more like a real wallet. You don't just have $50. You have a 20, 2 10s, a 5, and 5 ones. It's a collection of individual pieces of digital cash. And why does that matter? Well, according to the tech experts, this is a huge deal. Because you have these separate digital coins, the network can check and validate lots of transactions all at the same time, in parallel. Think of it like a supermarket with a dozen checkout lanes instead of just one long line. This makes it way more scalable and helps it avoid the bottlenecks and crazy, unpredictable fees that you see on those single-file, account-based systems.
And this all feeds into the core strategy of Bitcoin Cash, which is something called on-chain scaling. The big idea is pretty straightforward. Instead of building complicated side roads or layer 2s to handle traffic, why not just build a bigger, wider highway in the first place? The goal is to make the main network itself strong enough to handle all the transactions the world can throw at it.
But here's the thing. This super efficient foundation isn't just for sending money around anymore. Now it's becoming the blueprint for a whole new generation of decentralized finance, or DeFi. Yeah, this is way more than just digital cash now. A huge network upgrade back in 2023 basically flipped a switch, unlocking this incredible new level of programmability. It completely changed the game for what you can build on Bitcoin Cash. They call this upgrade CashTokens. And what it does is let anyone, you, me, anyone, create their own tokens right on the blockchain. We're talking fungible tokens, like loyalty points or shares in a company, and non-fungible tokens, NFTs, like concert tickets or digital collectibles. And the best part? It's all built on that super efficient UTXO model, so it gets all those benefits of speed, low cost, and security we were just talking about.
So, what can you actually do with this? Let's take a real-world example. Event tickets. We all know how frustrating they can be. Well, there's this technical demo called JetX that shows a whole new way. An event organizer can create tickets as NFTs for, get this, less than a penny each. Fans can buy them directly and then trade them on a totally decentralized marketplace. And here's the kicker. The organizer can program the ticket to automatically give them a small percentage of every single resale. All of this happens without a middleman, without a big ticketing corporation taking a huge cut.
And as you can imagine, this goes way, way beyond just tickets. The vision here is massive. We're talking about the ability to issue stocks and bonds directly on the chain, to create lending platforms that aren't run by banks, to build prediction markets, crowdfunding systems. I mean, these are literally the building blocks for an entirely new parallel financial system. So this all comes full circle, right back to that idea we started with. We know Bitcoin Cash is scarce. There will only ever be 21 million. But what about that other crucial piece of the puzzle? What about the utility, the ability to move it around that actually makes it money? Well, it really just boiled down to this number, less than a penny. That's the average cost to send a transaction on the Bitcoin Cash network. And that's not just a nice-to-have feature, it's everything. When it costs next to nothing to use, it becomes a system that anyone on Earth can afford. It means you can use it to buy a coffee or to run a complex financial app, and the cost is basically zero. That's what real economic inclusion looks like. And the ambition here is just massive. I mean, listen to this quote from developer Jason Dreisner. He's basically arguing that BCH is already as powerful as something like Ethereum, but without the high fees. And he's laying out a roadmap where, with upcoming upgrades, its capabilities are on a path to actually exceed what the biggest players in the smart contract space can do. That's a pretty bold claim. So that leaves us with this final, really powerful idea to chew on. The case being made here is that the foundation for a truly global, decentralized economy, one that's cheap enough for everyone to use, isn't some sci-fi dream for the future. It's here. It's being built and tested right now. And that leads to the ultimate question, right? When money becomes this easy to program and this close to free to move, what happens next? What amazing things will people build?